back too.
So are you optimistic about where the Alexander Technique community is going, or are you crying yourself to sleep at night?
Neither. I mean, there's the danger that they'll, that they'll just won't progress as much as they can. There's a lot of areas, I think, in terms of the breathing in particular, that I thought, that, I think has been neglected and can really be explored more. And I think they take too much of it for granted. The idea that they're lengthening and widening, and then that's going to free the breathing. It will to some degree, just on the basis of it, but there's really a lot more to it. A lot more that they could get there. I mean, Alexander made a whole career, really, even before that, on just working with the breathing, before he got into all these later stages of his work. And I don't think any teachers now are that successful in that area in terms of breathing, respiratory problems, and so forth. We're talking, of course, now we tend to take more of an educational approach. We're not trying to treat particular problems. We're just trying to educate the person, teach them about the technique, psychophysical re-education.
Do you buy that? Do you buy that educational approach?
I do. You're trying to teach something to the people. That through that, it can help the others. I'm just thinking that it got sort of fixed in the idea that they pretty well, I shouldn't say everyone because we're all different. Perhaps thinks they know more than they really do. Myself included.
I know a lot, Larry.
Yeah. You'd be better off probably if you junked half of it.
You think I'm going to be a great Alexander teacher? Or do you think I'm more suited for Feldenkrais? The world is watching, Larry.
I don't know that if I really had that much of a vendetta against Feldenkrais. You might turn out to be a good teacher somewhere down the line.
I don't think anyone should be a teacher if they haven't had at least 3 years of training.
Well, that's
3 hours a day, that kind of model.
That's for sure. They could use even more.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but that's just the minimum, I think. I mean, I don't buy these training schools where they go in, they get like 24 hours of credit for a weekend, because they have 2 long days.
Yeah. Alexander and McDonald said in the part they thought maybe twice as long, 6 years, maybe more. And I could see where Alexander in particular probably looked at what was coming out of his training course and wasn't totally happy with what he saw.
Well, they say it takes 10,000 hours to get great at anything, so a typical 3-year training program of 3 hours a day is 1,620 hours, so
Yeah.
that's like 1/7.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of this just takes that long just to, it took, Alexander 10 years just to work it out. And if you say that he was inspired, had a touch of genius, leave the rest of us who aren't as inspired, don't have the genius.
So have you found it interesting for the last 35 years that you've been teaching, or did you have long periods where you went off and joined a monastery or joined the French Foreign Legion because you were so bored with teaching Alexander Technique?
Well, there have been times when the routine of the teaching goes a little bit stale. You just get tired of it for a while.
Did it cause you to pull your hair out?
No. Didn't have any to pull out. No, I'd say you, and well, it even affected me too. Most of the people in the training course, you notice now, are 30 or older. very,
Yeah, I'm 45.
you're 45. That's a handicap right there. In terms of the habits have been longer to get entrenched.
Yeah. Like, I'm not nearly as good as those kids who come in here at 32.
Yeah.
Or
They have
30.
less, I was about 35 when I started.
Yeah.
And it took a long time, and I could see people younger might have an advantage. Doesn't always work out that way. Some people just, are more fixed in their ways, and others are more adaptable. But just starting at a later age, because some of this just takes time. You're trying to become more and more aware, of what you're doing, how you're doing it, and to get going.
If people want to reach you for Alexander lessons, how would they reach you?
Well, they go to the website of AMSAT. I'm listed there.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. White. I really appreciate your time.